Hi and welcome back. Please press the subscribe button if you're liking these episodes. And this one is kind of like an adjacent idea to what I was talking about in unconditional love and conditional love. It's to do with the idea of people pleasing versus tough love versus just like when to hold back. Okay, so people pleasing, we discovered last year in particular that had crept into our relationship and we needed to fix it. Luckily, Kelly and I had the resources and tools built into our relationship to be able to sit down and discuss it really nice and calmly and actually just open up the gates to absolutely every subject to be discussed to work out whether the people pleasing thing was a sign of us growing together or growing apart, what was actually happening. And through those discussions, we've actually learned that, yes, we're okay to keep growing together and move forward from that particular point. And we've moved forward leaps and bounds in the last year since. And our health has increased, our relationship has increased, our sex life has increased. Everything has been a really great addition to what was already a greatly growing relationship. But again, we had to address the people-pleasing things, and we needed to promise to each other that we were going to catch each other out when we were realizing that people-pleasing was occurring. So direct answers require direct responses, but that does not mean you stop being polite. You know, sometimes a harsh word is required to get their attention, especially if they're looking at something shiny or whatever, you know. And that's where it's a form of tough love, where it's not the ultimate in tough love. There are levels of this as well, but like it's that middle ground balance part where you can tactfully say that, well, actually, I don't agree with that and stuff. We actually need to address this particular action over here. Okay. And while that happens and stuff, we need to take care of this, this, and this. You know, rather than going, oh yeah, that's okay, just like smoothing it over with, you know, whatever and stuff. People pleasing doesn't work. Let's put it that way. And it's usually, as I mentioned in the last episode, is very detrimental to those that we care about if you know that they have the capacity to learn and to grow, then by all means you should be telling them exactly the aspects of whatever the situation is, how you see it, so they can learn from a different perspective. Okay, it doesn't mean they're going to take your advice. I have a particular friend of mine and stuff that I give really good quality advice because I've been in that situation, I've done that, I've learned from that, and I'll give the advice that I know that would have been much more effective, and then a couple of days later she'll tell me that she's just made it worse by doing the exact opposite of what I said. That type of person you can't seem to fix. Not with anything, even with duct tape or hammers, nothing. But that's fine because that's their journey. I still love and appreciate them for who they are, even though sometimes they suck. Can't do much about that. But in giving people tough love, well, there is another end to that scale where, so last night, at the time of this recording, we got a message from someone saying that they'd just dug themselves into a massive hole, they'd borrowed from the wrong person, and they are in a bit of a spot. And unfortunately, at the time of this recording, we're unable to help them anyway. And in many regards, this is not the first time this type of situation this person has done. And unfortunately for us, we also understand that the only way this particular person's going to learn to change and to grow from this type of experience and to do better choices in the future is to have to find her own way out of that hole. We love her to bits, we wish her well and everything else, but she is going to keep doing this same thing if she doesn't put a stop to it herself now. As unfortunate as we have to see these things, we have to see the same stuff of our children, especially as they grow up. You know, when they want to do this or to do that, and you can see that they're in that type of mindset where nothing else is getting in because they consider us as parents as too old to listen to just yet. And so they go and do that thing, even though you tried to let them know. You know, sometimes we do have to sit back and watch people just make their own mistakes, because that's actually their mistake to learn from. So when you're finding yourself in a position where the person you'd like to give advice is not in the zone of wanting to listen, or even if they pretend to listen, okay, you know that they're not going to follow it. You kind of need to just step back and let them make the mistake. Let them do it. Let them find their own way out. If you're a quality person who's given quality advice in the past beforehand, they will wake up further down the line and let you mentor them later. Okay? But sometimes you just have to let them make their own mistakes. You know, it's one of the most challenging parts about being a coach, is the fact that you can give really great advice, you can give greater suggestions and stuff, and not all of it's going to fit with what they want to do. You're trying to help them increase their capacity to do better than what they could do on their own, which is, you know, basically what coaching is all about, is to help them increase their capacity and minimize the mistakes. If they're not going to listen, that's not on yourself as a coach. That's on their responsibility as to, are they going to take that advice and use it, or are they going to ignore it and do something else? Right? Each person has their own choices. Again, I refer back to a few episodes ago when I was trying to mention that the only person you have control over is yourself. You have no control over anyone or any other thing at all, unless, even if you're holding it in your hand. You know, it's only inanimate objects we can move around and have a little bit of control, but when it comes to other life forms, we have no control over them whatsoever. Okay? You can put a dog on a lead to walk them around a lake. It doesn't mean they're going to walk in a straight line the first go. Okay? The dog needs to learn that you're trusted and capable of guiding them and keeping them in a safe environment. Okay? To let them know that some particular things like a lawnmower and stuff aren't as scary as they thought they were, you know, and that comes with just training and guidance. Okay? And when it comes to puppies and dogs, you hope to get to the point where they will trust you so much with walking in a strange environment that they'll just stay by your side by voice command and guidance. And most of the time, not even that. They'll just stay by your side as you walk, just trusting that you know where you're going and they're enjoying the experience and sharing the day with you. That's kind of similar to what we're trying to do with other life experiences. You know, not everyone's going to trust your guidance straight away. But if you're consistently giving great guidance, then you let them make their mistake, they'll come back to you after that and say, look, I'm sorry, I should have listened. One other example of this is when my wife and I, before we had our children at all, we made the agreement that we would tell our children no 3 times. The 4th time, they're allowed to let them make their own mistake. Okay? And particular circumstances occurred where, you know, it was an instance where a child was about to do something, did it 3 times, each time we said no, and then the 4th time we let it happen, and they got a little bit of a fright. But they learned to trust when we said no after that. Okay? Yes, we did everything age appropriate, but I'm not giving extra details and stuff on this type of platform and stuff because, it doesn't matter. The basics will do. My point is still the same. It doesn't matter if it's child or adult and stuff. You, of course, scale it to the level of responsibility of the person you're dealing with, and you also scale it to their capacity to listen and understand. Okay? But this is all to do with growing your EQ. If you don't understand these types of concepts, then you're going to be emotionally attached to outcomes of other people you have no control over. Okay? And this is why it's relevant to growing your EQ. All right? Because to detach from the outcome of other people's actions will be your ultimate mastery of gaining better control over yourself and how you feel towards becoming your best self. So I'll leave you with that for the moment, and I'll continue on in the next one. And please, again, if you enjoyed this or if this has actually been helpful for you, please click the like button, click subscribe, share where you can, comment and stuff if the comments have been turned on. I don't know. But do all the clicks and buttons and everything and stuff that you can see. Okay? Thanks. Bye.